6 months ago, I thought I'd hit the jackpot when I bought my first home in Maplewood Estates. Picture-perfect lawns, a sparkling community pool, neighbors who waved as they jogged by. It was the suburban dream. What the realtor didn't mention was Laura Bennett, the HOA president who seemed to have a PhD in making everyone's life miserable. From the moment I moved in, Laura had me in her crosshairs, slapping me with violation notices for the pettiest things. My trash cans were apparently 2 inches too visible from the street. My mailbox, bought from the approved vendor, was somehow the wrong shade of charcoal. Once, she sent a formal warning because my grass measured 3.75 inches. Gasp when the sacred bylaws demanded no more than 3.5. I swear, she must have been out there with a ruler at dawn. But Laura's latest stunt? It was next level. For 2 weeks, she'd been parking her gleaming white BMW SUV halfway across my driveway, blocking me in like it was her personal mission to ruin my mornings. When I first asked her to move it, she flashed a smile sweeter than iced tea and said, "As HOA president, I have authority over all community access points. I'm conducting an official driveway compliance check." Compliance check, my foot. I filed complaints with the HOA board, left polite notes on her windshield, even called the non-emergency police line, but they said it was a civil matter, unless she fully blocked me in. Each time I confronted her, her smile grew icier, her tone dripping with condescension as she reminded me, "Living in a covenant-controlled community isn't for everyone, Michael." Today, though, I couldn't take it anymore. I had a make-or-break client meeting downtown, one that could land my little architecture firm a game-changing contract. I wasn't about to let Laura's power trip derail me. When I saw her BMW angled across my driveway yet again, I decided to carefully edge around it. There was just enough room if I took it slow. I was inching forward, my Toyota in park mode slow, when Laura herself stormed across her pristine lawn, decked out in a floral blouse, white capris, and designer sunglasses perched on her head like a crown. She planted herself right in the narrow gap between her car and mine, arms crossed, blocking my only way out. "Excuse me," I called through my open window, keeping my voice steady despite the heat rising in my chest. "I have a huge meeting. I need to leave. Now." Laura didn't budge. Instead, she raised her voice, loud enough for the whole street to hear. "You've been warned repeatedly about your reckless driving, Michael. We have children in this neighborhood. The board has multiple complaints." I blinked, stunned. Complaints? I'd never heard a peep about my driving, and I crawled through Maplewood like I was dodging puppies. "Laura, there's no one around, and my car's barely moving. Please step aside." Her eyes narrowed as she whipped out her phone. "I'm documenting this harassment," she declared, holding it up like she was filming a crime scene. "The board will hear about your behavior." I glanced at my watch. 45 minutes until my meeting, with a 20-minute drive ahead. I was done playing nice. "I'm going to move forward slowly," I said loud and clear. "I'm giving you fair warning to step aside." With my foot hovering over the brake, I let the car creep forward at maybe 1 mile an hour, ready to stop in a heartbeat. That's when Laura's Oscar-worthy performance kicked off. My car was still 3 feet away when she suddenly flung herself backward onto the pavement with the drama of a soap opera star, shrieking, "Oh my God, he hit me! He hit me with his car!" She clutched her leg, rolling back and forth, her perfectly styled bob fanning out on the asphalt. "Someone call 911! I need an ambulance!" I slammed the car into park, engine off, and just sat there, jaw on the floor. Neighbors started pouring out of their houses, drawn by the commotion. Some rushed to Laura, faces full of concern, while others hung back, looking confused. Mrs. Carter from 2 doors down put an arm around Laura, glaring at me like I'd run over her dog. "I've called 911, she said. "They're coming." But then I caught Mr. Thompson, the retired lawyer across the street, standing with his arms crossed, squinting at Laura like he wasn't buying it. "She's faking it," he muttered, just loud enough for the crowd to hear. "My doorbell camera caught everything. My stomach was doing flips, but his words gave me a flicker of hope. Sirens wailed in the distance, and I braced myself. This was about to get messy. The next 10 minutes were like something out of a fever dream. Laura kept up her wailing, rocking back and forth, claiming her leg was broken. I stepped out of my car, heart pounding, and tried to explain. I didn't touch her. My car never got close. She threw herself down. Laura's cries got louder. He's lying! He sped right into me. More neighbors gathered, some whispering, others shooting me looks that ranged from shock to outright disgust. I felt like I was on trial in the middle of Maplewood. Then Mr. Thompson walked over, calm as you please, and leaned in close. Don't worry, Michael, he said quietly. My doorbell camera's got this whole stretch of the street. Upgraded to a wide-angle model last month after some package thefts. It recorded everything. I could have hugged him. Thank you, I whispered, my voice shakier than I expected. 2 police cruisers rolled up, lights flashing, followed by an ambulance. The officers, one older, with a weathered face, the other younger, with a buzz-cut, approached with that no-nonsense cop VYB. What happened here? The older one asked, glancing between Laura, still moaning theatrically, and me. Before I could get a word out, Laura launched into her sob story, voice trembling like she was auditioning for a Lifetime movie. I was trying to stop him from speeding through our neighborhood, she said, wincing dramatically. He got angry and drove right into me. I was thrown several feet. The younger officer scribbled notes, while the EMTs checked Laura's vitals, poking at her injured leg. The older officer turned to me. Your side, sir. I laid it all out: Laura's months of harassment, her car blocking my driveway, her stepping in my path, and how my car never touched her. His face gave nothing away. Any witnesses or EVY Denke? He asked. That's when Mr. Thompson stepped up, phone in hand. Officers, I've got VY Deo of the whole thing from my doorbell camera. Want to see it? Laura's moaning stopped like someone hit mute. I caught her head snap toward Mr. Thompson, her eyes wide. That'd be helpful, sir, the older officer said. Mr. Thompson handed over his phone, and both cops leaned in to watch. The footage was crystal clear, my car inching forward at a snail's pace, Laura standing 3 feet away, then hurling herself backward like she'd been hit by a truck. You could even hear her mutter, now, to herself right before the fall. The officers exchanged a look, their faces hardening. The older one handed the phone back to Mr. Thompson with a curt, "Thank you, sir," then walked over to Laura, who was now sitting up, an EMT checking her blood pressure. "Ma'am," he said, his tone ice cold, "the EMTs aren't finding any injuries consistent with being hit by a vehicle." Laura's voice shrank. "I'm in shock. The adrenaline's hiding the pain. I need a hospital." The younger officer cut in. "Ms. Bennett, we've seen VY Deo that clearly shows you weren't struck. It looks like you threw yourself down and lied about it." The color drained from Laura's face as she glanced at the neighbors, who were starting to back away, whispering among themselves. "That's ridiculous," she stammered. "The camera angle's wrong. I'm the HOA president. I'd never." The older officer cut her off. "Falsely reporting a crime is a crime, ma'am. So is obstruction of justice and filing a false police report." Laura stood up, brushing off the EMTs like she hadn't been, in agony, seconds ago. "This is just a neighborhood dispute," she said, all business now. "I'm not pressing charges. Let's move on." The younger officer shook his head. "Doesn't work like that, Ms. Bennett. You called 911, claimed you were hit, and wasted emergency resources. You lied to us. Those are serious offenses." Laura's face twisted, her HOA queen mask slipping. "Do you know who I am? I've run this community for 7 years. I'm on the City Beautification Committee." The older officer didn't flinch. "Ms. Bennett, turn around and place your hands behind your back." I stood there, frozen, as Laura Bennett, the terror of Maplewood Estates, was handcuffed and read her Miranda rights in front of half the neighborhood. Her face cycled through disbelief, fury, and finally, raw panic. "This is outrageous!" she screamed as the officers led her to the cruiser. "I'll have your badges! I'll sue this whole street! The bylaws clearly—" Her rant cut off as the cruiser door slammed shut, silencing whatever HOA rules she thought could save her. The older officer turned to me. "Sir, we'll need you to come to the station for a statement." I nodded, explaining my meeting. He was sympathetic. "Call your client. We'll get you through this fast and give you documentation if needed." As the cruiser pulled away with Laura in the back, neighbors started coming up to me, offering support and their own horror stories about her reign. Turns out, I wasn't the only one she tormented. 3 days later, I got a letter from the HOA board. They'd held an emergency meeting and booted Laura as president, with a formal apology for her behavior and a promise to fix my complaints. Word was, Laura faced misdemeanor charges for false reporting and obstruction, with up to 6 months in jail, and $2,500 in fines on the table. But for someone like her, the real punishment was the humiliation. Her carefully built image as Maplewood's queen was shattered in front of everyone she'd bullied for years. A week later, I ran into her at the grocery store. The old Laura Imperious, untouchable, was gone. She couldn't even look at me, just pushed her cart down the cereal aisle, face red, moving like she wanted to disappear. Rumor had it she'd put her house up for sale, too ashamed to face the neighbors who'd seen her dramatic downfall. As I watched her hurry away, I couldn't help but think, some people only learn the hard way when they spend years acting like the rules don't apply to them.